Welcome to the deep dive.
Got to be diving in.
This is where we take, well, all that specialized source material, articles, research papers, expert notes.
Sometimes mountains of it.
Right. And we synthesize it, really distill it down into the knowledge you need to be, instantly well-informed.
And today's deep dive, it covers something we all do, but it's surprisingly complex when you look closely. Clothes shopping.
It really is. The material we've gone through isn't just about, asking for a different size.
No, not at all. It digs into the language, sure, but also the economics behind it, the ethical questions, even the philosophy woven into the fabric, so to speak.
That's a good way to put it. We're starting right there on the shop floor, figuring out those essential survival phrases.
The real basics.
But we're going all the way to, the high-end discussions, the critical vocabulary about shape, construction.
And the bigger picture, the moral side of being a consumer today.
Exactly. Our mission is to take you, the listener, on that journey. From just needing a t-shirt to really understanding style versus, fleeting trends.
And here's what I think is really compelling from the sources. That choice you make, buying something as, every day as a jacket, it's not just about keeping warm or looking good. It's like a data point connected to global supply chains, how you're building your identity.
Wow, okay.
And even the whole history of fashion. It seems small, but the connections are huge.
So we're aiming to give you the tools not just to navigate a clothing store confidently,
but also to analyze the whole industry behind it, to really understand what's going on.
Okay, let's get into it. We have to start at the beginning. Section 1, the essential wardrobe.
Building that foundation.
We need to establish that core vocabulary so you can actually find and, describe the basic items you might be looking for.
Right, and when we talk core vocabulary, you immediately hit, a bit of a snag with regional differences, especially between, say, the UK and the US.
Let's start with the top half of the body. A t-shirt seems pretty straightforward, right? Usually cotton, short sleeves, casual wear.
Yep, that one's fairly universal. But things get interesting when it gets colder.
This is a key distinction our sources emphasize. The difference between a shirt and a sweater.
Crucial.
A shirt generally means the item with a collar and buttons all the way down the front. Think office wear or something smarter.
Exactly, that's the more formal piece. But the thing you wear over it or instead of it when it's cold, that warm, often knitted thing with long sleeves.
That's where the vocabulary splits.
That's the one. In North America, it's a sweater. Simple enough.
But if you're in the UK?
It's usually called a jumper.
Jumper, okay.
And knowing that jumper equals sweater is probably the single most useful piece of cross-Atlantic clothing translation you can have. It avoids a lot of confusion.
Good tip. Okay, moving down to the legs. The general term is trousers.
Formal or informal covers most things.
But in American English, the common word is pants.
Right. And here's the classic trap for visitors.
Oh, yeah.
If you walk into a British shop and ask for pants...
They'll think you mean
underwear. Specifically men's underwear usually, you might get a slightly raised eyebrow or a confused look.
Okay, so trousers is the safer bet internationally.
Definitely, unless you're very sure of your context. And of course, the most common type of trousers worldwide.
It has to be jeans.
Jeans made from that specific strong blue cotton fabric called denim.
Their history is fascinating, isn't it? From workwear to high fashion.
Absolutely. That durability is key. They last. They get character.
Okay, let's talk outerwear. This causes confusion too, the difference between a jacket and a coat.
Yeah, people use them interchangeably sometimes, but the sources are clear. It's about purpose and, length and warmth.
So a jacket is?
Generally lighter, shorter, maybe waist length or just below. It's for cooler weather, like a spring evening or maybe just to finish an outfit. Less about serious protection.
And a coat?
A coat is designed for proper warmth for cold weather. It's typically heavier, longer, often hip length, knee length, or even longer. It offers much more protection from cold, wind, rain.
So, think function. Serious cold needs a coat. Style or mild chill, a jacket might do.
That's the core difference. Purpose dictates the term.
Got it. And lastly for this section, feet. Shoes is the general umbrella term.
Right, covers everything from sandals to boots.
But for sports or casual wear, we hit that UK split again.
We do. In the UK, you'd ask for trainers, as in shoes for training.
Makes sense.
While in the US, the common term is sneakers.
Sneakers, where does that name come from?
The sources suggest it's from the late 19th, early 20th century. The rubber soles, unlike hard leather soles, were quiet, You could, theoretically, sneak up on someone.
Huh, okay. Trainers and sneakers, another one to remember.
Key difference. Oh, and we should mention boots, too. Stronger footwear covers the foot and ankle, sometimes up the leg, for cold, wet weather or specific activities like hiking.
Right, boots for more heavy-duty situations. Okay, so we've got the basic item names down. Now you're in the shop. It might feel a bit overwhelming. You need help.
You need the shop assistant or sales associate, sales assistant. The terms vary, but it's the person working there whose job is to help you.
And the sources highlight 2 golden phrases. Polite, effective ways to get that help. What's the first one?
The simplest, most direct approach, if you know what section you need, is, excuse me, where can I find the item?
So, excuse me, where can I find the sweaters? Or, excuse me, where can I find the jeans?
Exactly. It's direct, polite, requires minimal back and forth, gets you pointed in the right direction.
Okay, but what if you need a bit more guidance? Maybe you're not sure what style you want.
Then the second golden phrase is more open-ended. I'm looking for a new item.
As in, I'm looking for a new coat.
Precisely. This signals you're open to suggestions and allows the assistant to ask follow-up questions.
Like what?
They might ask, okay, what sort of style are you looking for? Or what color did you have in mind? Or is it for a particular occasion?
And then you can respond naturally. I'd like something in a dark color, please. Or I need something warm for winter.
Yeah, it opens up a helpful dialogue. Having those 2 tools, the direct navigation question and the open-ended request, makes walking into any shop feel much less daunting. You've got a starting point.
Gives you confidence right away. All right, so you've used your golden phrase. You've found, say, the perfect-looking pair of trousers. Now comes that critical moment. Will they actually fit?
This is where the transaction really begins, and it starts with size.
We see the labels, S, M, L, small, medium, large. Sometimes XS for extra small, XL for extra large. That seems straightforward enough.
On the surface, yes. That SML system is pretty international, but, and this is a huge but highlighted in the sources,
Go on.
those sizes mean almost nothing objective. There's virtually no standardization between brands, or even within the same brand sometimes.
You mean one shop's medium could be completely different from another's?
Completely. Or even different from the same shop's medium last year. This is often linked to something called vanity sizing.
Ah, yes, vanity sizing. Explain that quickly.
It's basically when manufacturers label clothes with a smaller size than the actual measurements would traditionally indicate. So something that might have been a size 12 a decade ago is now labeled a size 10 or even an 8.
Why do they do that?
The theory is it makes the shopper feel better, flatter them psychologically.
And maybe encourage them to buy it.
Exactly. Oh, I fit into a size small here. It can be a subtle sales tactic.
Which makes the label pretty unreliable.
Extremely. And that's why the phrasal verb to try it on is absolutely essential, non-negotiable.
You have to physically put the clothes on your body.
You have to check the fit, the comfort, how it moves, how it actually looks on you, not just on the hanger.
Okay, so where do you do that?
In the designated private area, which is called the fitting room or the changing room, both terms are common.
And how do you find it?
Another simple, polite question. Excuse me, where is the fitting room? Or, could you tell me where the changing rooms are?
The sources mention this can sometimes feel like the most awkward part for shoppers.
It can be, yeah. Finding it, maybe there's a cue, interacting with the attendant there. So mastering that simple question helps make it smoother.
Right. You're inside the fitting room.
Yeah.
Mirror, hooks, the item of clothing. What are you assessing?
You're asking yourself some basic questions using simple language. Is it too big?
Meaning it feels loose or maybe even baggy. Looks sloppy.
Correct. Or the opposite, is it too small?
Meaning it feels tight, uncomfortable, maybe restricts your movement. You can't raise your arms or sit down comfortably.
Precisely. You're looking for that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Comfortable, allows movement, but still looks sharp and fits well. And crucially, do I actually like it on me?
Good point. Fit is one thing, but you also have to like how it looks and feels.
Absolutely. Okay, let's say it fits perfectly. You love it. You're ready to buy. What's next?
You head to the payment area, the checkout, or the till.
And the person working there is the cashier.
They scan the item, they tell you the price. What's the key phrase now to signal you want to complete the purchase?
The sources strongly recommend keeping it simple and direct. The most natural phrase is, I'll take it.
Not, I want to buy this or I think I'll get this.
You could say those, but I'll take it is just very clear, common, and signals decision. It moves the process along smoothly. You hear the price. Okay, great. I'll take it. Done.
Okay, I'll take it. Then comes payment.
Payment logistics. It's rarely just about cash anymore. You need to be ready for cards.
So the standard question is, can I pay by card?
Yes, that covers debit or credit. You might also ask about specific types, like, do you take American Express? Or nowadays, can I pay with Apple Pay? Or contactless.
Good point. Depends on the store and the amount.
And then, after you've paid, arguably the most important step for consumer protection.
The receipt.
The receipt. Your proof of purchase, absolutely vital if you need to return the item later.
Should you always ask for one, even if they don't automatically offer it?
Yes. Politely but firmly. Can I have a receipt, please? Or could I get a receipt for that?
Why is it so important?
Without it, trying to return something becomes incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible. The receipt proves where and when you bought it and for how much.
Okay, so don't leave the shop without it.
Never. Think of it this way. The fitting room checks the physical fit. The receipt secures your logistical rights afterwards. Nail those two, and the transaction is successful.
Good framework. Okay, we're moving up a level now. We've handled the basics of finding and buying. Now we're getting into, let's say, intermediate expertise.
Exactly. It's about speaking with more precision. A really savvy shopper doesn't just ask for a jacket.
They can describe what kind of jacket they want.
Precisely. Using specific language about the material it's made from, the pattern on it, and even how it fits. This helps the assistant help you much more effectively.
Makes sense. Let's start with material. Why is knowing about materials important?
Well, it affects everything, really. How the garment feels, how warm it is, how durable it is, how you need to wash it, and, crucially, it lets you be specific in your requests.
Okay, what are some common materials we should know?
Cotton is probably the most common. It's a natural fiber from a plant. It's generally soft, breathable, comfortable, and relatively easy to care for.
Used for.
T-shirts, jeans are often mostly cotton, shirts, summer dresses, underwear, loads of things. Being specific helps. I'm looking for a t-shirt that's 100% cotton, not a polyester blend.
Right, blends behave differently. What about warmer materials?
Then you're often looking at wool. Comes from sheep, primarily. It's known for being warm, cozy, good insulation.
So sweaters, coats, scarves, hats.
Exactly. But wool often needs more careful washing, sometimes hand wash or dry clean only. It can also sometimes feel itchy to sensitive skin.
Good to know. What about something tougher?
Leather. Comes from animal skin, usually cows.
Oh.
It's known for being strong, durable, wind-resistant, often used for jackets, shoes, belts, bags.
And it changes over time, doesn't it? Develops a patina.
It does, which many people like. It's generally more expensive, considered an investment piece, needs specific care too.
Okay. Any others we should definitely mention?
Silk comes from silkworms. It's known for being very light, smooth, luxurious feeling, often used for blouses, scarves, dresses, ties.
Sounds lovely, but maybe delicate?
Very delicate. Usually needs careful washing, often dry cleaning, and it can stain easily. Also, linen, made from the flax plant. Very breathable, great for hot weather, but creases incredibly easily. You have to embrace the wrinkles with linen.
Knowing these properties helps you choose, right? Like, maybe don't buy a silk shirt if you hate high-maintenance laundry.
Exactly, and it helps you ask precisely, do you have the sweater in merino wool? Or is this jacket real leather?
Okay, materials covered.
Yeah.
What about pattern, the design on the fabric?
The most basic is plain. Just one single color, no design. Like a plain white shirt or a plain blue sweater. Simple, often versatile.
Then what if it has lines?
That's striped. The lines can be vertical, horizontal, thick, thin, different colors, like a classic Breton striped top.
Okay, and squares.
That pattern is called checked. It's made up of intersecting lines forming squares, often in different colors.
Is that the same as plaid?
Often used interchangeably, especially in American English. Plaid sometimes implies a more complex, multicolored check, like a Scottish tartan, but checked is a good general term. Think checked shirts.
Right. And one more common one, especially in summer.
Floral. A pattern featuring flowers or botanical designs, very common on dresses, blouses, skirts, particularly for warmer seasons.
So being able to combine these is powerful.
Absolutely. You can walk in and say, I'm looking for a striped cotton t-shirt, or do you have any checked wool scarves, or I need a plain black leather jacket. It narrows down the search instantly.
Much more efficient. Now, let's go back to fit, but with more sophisticated language. We talked about too big, too small. What if it's just right?
The simple phrase is, it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Size is exactly right.
But there's a higher compliment, isn't there?
Yes, and it's a really thoughtful one. It suits you.
What does that mean exactly? It's not just about size.
No, it suits you goes beyond mere fit. It means the color, the style, the cut, the overall look of the garment works really well with your specific appearance, your personality, maybe your complexion or hair color.
So you might say that color really suits you or that style suits you perfectly.
Exactly. It's about aesthetic harmony. It's a much deeper compliment than just saying it fits.
Okay, good distinction. Now back to imperfect fit. We know loose or baggy means too big and tight means too small.
Yes. But when you're giving feedback, especially to a shop assistant, the sources suggest softening the language a bit.
Oh, so
Instead of saying baldly, this is too tight, which can sound a bit blunt or accusatory.
you add a mitigator.
Exactly. Use words like a bit or a little. So this jacket feels a little tight across the shoulders, or these trousers are a bit loose on the waist.
Sounds more polite, less confrontational.
Much more diplomatic. It keeps the interaction positive while still clearly communicating the problem, helps them help you find an alternative.
All right, we've gone from just naming things to describing them with nuance, material, pattern, fit. It gives you much more control.
Definitely. You're moving from basic needs to expressing specific tastes.
Now we're getting into strategy. Knowing the words is one thing, but a truly savvy shopper understands the market, the timing, the pitfalls.
Absolutely. This section is about navigating the system, especially things like sales, returns, and the whole world of online shopping.
Let's start with sales. What exactly is a sale?
Technically, it's just a period where a retailer sells items at a reduced price. Often happens at the end of a season, end of summer, end of winter, to clear out old stock before the new season's items arrive.
And the goal for the shopper during a sale?
To find a bargain. That's the key word. A bargain isn't just something cheap, it's something you buy for significantly less than its usual price or perceived value. It feels like a win.
The thrill of the hunt, finding that hidden gem marked down.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial, you need to decode the language retailers use around sales. It can be deliberately misleading.
How so? Like 50% off. That seems clear.
50% off is usually clear, yes. The item's price is halved. But the phrase you really need to be wary of is up to 70% off.
Up to. Those two little words make a big difference.
Huge difference. It's a classic marketing tactic. Up to 70% off does not mean everything is 70% off.
What does it mean then?
It means 70% is the maximum possible discount you might find, probably on a very small selection of items, maybe unpopular sizes, last season's colors, things they're desperate to shift.
Well, most of the stuff you actually want.
Might only be 10%, 20%, maybe 30% off if you're luckin'. They use the big number 70 to lure you in, hoping you'll buy something anyway, even at a smaller discount.
So a savvy shopper sees up to and thinks, probably not 70% off the thing I want.
Precisely. Manage your expectations. Look for the actual discount on the specific item's tag.
Good warning. Okay, let's say you've bought something, maybe even in the sale. You get it home and change your mind. Or it doesn't look right. Returns.
Mastering the return process is a vital skill. It saves you from wasting money on mistakes. First step, understand the shop's returns policy.
Where do you find that?
Usually printed on the receipt, sometimes on the shop's website or signage near the checkout. It will state the time limit you have, often 28 days, but it varies.
And are there conditions?
Yes, almost always. The key conditions are that the item must be unworn.
Meaning you haven't actually worn it out anywhere, just tried it on at home briefly.
Correct. And critically, it must still have the original tags attached, those paper or plastic labels.
Why are the tags so important?
Removing the tags is often seen by the retailer as the moment you officially accept the item. If the tags are off, they may refuse the return, arguing you've used it.
Okay, so keep tags on until you are 100% sure. Item unworn, tags on, within the time limit, and you have your receipt. Now what?
You go back to the shop, you'll need to communicate clearly. Start with a simple statement like, I'd like to return this jumper, please.
Do you need to give a reason?
You might be asked. You can be honest, but polite. It turned out to be the wrong size, or I've just changed my mind, or it doesn't really go with anything else I have. Keep it simple.
And what are we asking for? What's the outcome?
You usually have two main options. You can ask for a refund, which means getting your money back, usually in the original form of payment.
Fine.
Or you can ask for an exchange, which means swapping the item for something else, maybe a different size of the same item, or a different item altogether of equivalent value.
So know what you want, refund or exchange. And be polite but clear about the policy.
Exactly. Okay, now let's shift gears to the increasingly dominant way people shop for clothes online.
Which presents the biggest challenge of all, right?
Absolutely. The fundamental problem, you cannot try it on before you buy it. You're buying based on pictures and descriptions alone.
So how do you reduce the risk of getting something that doesn't fit or look right?
You have to become a bit of a digital detective. Your number one tool is the size guide or size chart provided on the website.
Don't just click M and hope for the best.
Never. You need to open that chart. It should give specific measurements for the garment itself, chest, width, sleeve length, waist, inseam, etc., for each size, S, M, L, or numerical sizes.
And what do you do with those measurements?
You compare them to your own body measurements. You might need a tape measure. Or, even better, compare them to the measurements of a similar item you already own that fits you well.
Measure a favorite t-shirt you have and see which size on the website matches closest.
That's often the most reliable way. Takes a few extra minutes, but dramatically increases your chances of getting the fit right.
What's the other key tool for online detective work?
Reading the customer reviews. Don't just look at the star rating, read the actual comments.
Why are they so valuable?
Because other buyers will often comment specifically on the fit and sizing based on their real-world experience. They'll say things like, this runs large, definitely size down, meaning buy a size smaller than usual.
Or the opposite. Run small, I had to size up, buy bigger.
Exactly. They might also comment on the material quality, the color accuracy compared to the photo, things you can't tell just from the official description. Reviews are gold dust.
Okay, so check the size chart meticulously, read the reviews carefully. But what if, despite all that, it arrives and it's wrong? Online returns.
Online returns have their own process. Usually the package will arrive with a returns form included or instructions on how to print one.
You have to fill that out.
Typically, yes, stating what you're returning and the reason why. Then you need to package the item back up, often in its original packaging if possible.
And then
you have to post it back or ship it back. This might involve taking it to a post office or arranging a courier pickup.
And this is where hidden costs can appear.
Potentially, yes. The big question is who pays the postage costs or shipping costs for the return?
Does the company offer free returns shipping?
Some do, which is great, but many don't, especially for international orders or sale items. The customer has to pay to send it back.
And that cost could wipe out any bargain you thought you got.
Easily. So, a truly savvy online shopper checks the returns policy before buying, specifically looking to see if returns are free or if they'll have to bear the shipping cost if it doesn't work out. Factor that potential cost into your decision.
Right. Due diligence before clicking buy.
Okay, we've thoroughly covered the mechanics of shopping, finding things, buying things, returning things. Now we need to step back, get a bit more philosophical.
We're moving into the deeper meaning behind our clothing choices. And the sources say the absolute core distinction here is fashion versus style.
Yes, these two words are thrown around all the time, often as if they mean the same thing. But according to fashion theory and critique, they are fundamentally different concepts.
Well, let's define them. What is fashion?
Fashion is primarily external. It's about what's popular right now. It's driven by trends, often dictated by the industry, designers, magazines, influencers.
And it changes constantly.
Constantly, season by season, sometimes even faster. Fashion is about conforming, about being part of the collective look of the moment. It's inherently fleeting, temporary.
Okay, so fashion is external, collective, temporary. What about style?
Style is internal. It's personal, unique, and ideally authentic to the individual.
So it's not about following trends.
Not necessarily. Style is about understanding yourself, your body shape, your lifestyle, your personality, your values, and choosing clothes that express that, regardless of what's currently in fashion.
It sounds more lasting.
That's the idea. There's that famous quote often attributed to Coco Chanel or Yves Saint Laurent, fashions fade, style is eternal.
Fashions fade, style is eternal. That sums it up well.
It really does. Style is about curating a look that works for you over the long term.
If style is eternal, or at least long-lasting, what kind of pieces contribute to that?
Often, it involves investing in what are called timeless pieces.
What makes a piece timeless?
Usually, it's a combination of classic design, high-quality materials, and versatile function. Think of things like a well-cut trench coat, a simple black dress, a classic white button-down shirt, a pair of good-quality leather boots, a tailored blazer.
Items whose basic design hasn't changed drastically in decades.
Exactly. They resist fleeting trends because their form is rooted in practicality and broad aesthetic appeal. They demonstrate enduring quality and, therefore, a kind of permanence.
This idea of focusing on timeless, quality pieces links to another concept mentioned in the sources, the capsule wardrobe.
Yes, the capsule wardrobe is a very practical application of the style over fashion philosophy.
Explain that concept.
It's essentially a minimalist approach. You intentionally curate a small collection, maybe 30, 40 items total, including shoes and outerwear of high-quality, versatile, essential pieces that you absolutely love and that all work well together.
So everything can be mixed and matched.
That's the key. Because all the colors, styles, and fabrics are chosen to be cohesive, a small number of items can generate a surprisingly large number of outfits.
Like 5 tops and 5 bottoms could make 25 different combinations.
Precisely. The focus shifts dramatically from quantity to quality and versatility. It's about having fewer, better things that you wear more often.
And this is seen as a more sustainable approach, too.
Definitely. It directly counters the impulse to constantly buy new things just because they're trendy or cheap. It's about mindful consumption.
Which brings us to why we put so much thought into clothes anyway. The sources emphasize their role as communication.
Hugely important. Clothes are a primary form of nonverbal communication. Before you even speak, your clothes are sending signals.
Signals about what?
All sorts of things. Your identity, your social group, your profession, your economic status, your mood, your personality, your values.
It's like wearing a message.
In many ways, yes. Think about uniforms or how people dress for a job interview versus a party. We use clothes strategically to convey messages about ourselves.
The sources also mention clothes as a tool for trying on different personas.
Yes, especially during formative years, like adolescence. Experimenting with different styles of clothing is a way of exploring different potential identities, figuring out who you are or who you want to be. It's a visual exploration of self.
But if clothes carry all this meaning, what about the clothes most people actually buy today? Which leads us to fast fashion.
Right. The dominant force in the modern clothing industry is the fast fashion model.
What defines fast fashion?
It's a business model built on speed and volume, producing huge quantities of clothing very cheaply and getting it into stores extremely quickly sometimes, with new arrivals hitting shop floors weekly, specifically to mimic the very latest catwalk trends or celebrity style.
Okay, the sources urge us to look at this impartially. What's the upside? The argument for fast fashion?
The main positive argument is about accessibility and what's sometimes called its democratizing effect.
Meaning?
Because the clothes are so inexpensive, it allows people with lower incomes to participate in current trends and express themselves through clothing in ways that were historically only possible for the wealthy. It makes looking stylish affordable for almost everyone.
That social inclusion aspect is significant.
It is, but then we have to weigh that against the considerable downsides highlighted in the source material.
Let's start with the culture it creates.
It fosters a disposable culture. When a t-shirt costs less than a cup of coffee, you just don't value it.
You wear it a few times and then
you discard it. It's treated as semi-disposable, contributing to massive amounts of textile waste. People buy more, wear less, discard faster.
And the environmental impact of producing all this cheap clothing.
It's enormous. The sources detail multiple impacts. There's massive water usage, especially for growing cotton.
Okay.
There's pollution from toxic dyes and chemicals used in manufacturing, which often contaminate rivers and water sources, particularly in the countries where production is outsourced.
Wow.
There's a heavy reliance on synthetic materials derived from fossil fuels, primarily polyester. These aren't biodegradable.
And they cause another problem when washed.
Yes, they shed microplastics, tiny plastic fibers with every wash, which end up in our oceans and waterways, entering the food chain.
And finally, where do all these discarded clothes end up?
Overwhelmingly, in landfill or sometimes incinerated. Synthetic fibers can take hundreds of years to decompose. The sheer volume is creating a global waste crisis.
So significant environmental costs. What about the human cost?
This is the other major concern, the ethical issues. To keep prices so incredibly low, the fast fashion model often relies on exploitative labor practices.
Meaning what, specifically?
Workers in the factories, predominantly in developing countries, are often paid wages below the legal minimum or a living wage. They frequently work excessive hours in unsafe conditions with few rights or protections. Garment factory collapses and fires have highlighted these dangers tragically.
And it's hard for consumers to know if a brand is ethical.
Very hard. This is where the issue of transparency comes in. Many fast fashion brands lack transparency regarding their supply chain.
What does supply chain mean in this context?
It's the entire sequence of processes involved in producing the garment, from growing the cotton or producing the synthetic fiber, that's tier 4, to spinning the yarn and weaving the fabric, tier 3, to dyeing and finishing the fabric and sewing the garment, tier 2, and finally warehousing and distribution, tier 1.
And brands often don't reveal who they work with at each stage.
Exactly. That opacity makes it difficult to verify working conditions or environmental practices further down the chain. Keeping prices low often involves squeezing costs at the production end, sometimes at great human cost.
This whole critique of fast fashion leads naturally to the alternative movement mentioned. Sustainable fashion or slow fashion?
Yes, slow fashion is essentially the antithesis of fast fashion.
How so?
It emphasizes mindfulness and intention. It's about slowing down consumption, choosing quality over quantity, valuing durability and longevity.
And supporting brands that operate differently.
Crucially, yes, supporting brands that are transparent about their supply chains, pay fair wages, use sustainable materials like organic cotton, recycled fibers, linen, minimize waste and pollution, and create clothes designed to last, not just for a single season.
So the choice between buying fast fashion and slow fashion becomes
A statement of values. It's an ethical decision about what kind of industry and what kind of impact you want to support with your money.
We've reached the final section, the peak of our deep dive. We're now equipped with the context, the ethics. Let's add the language of genuine expertise.
Right. This is about moving beyond just material and pattern to using the kind of technical language fashion critics, designers, or curators might use to analyze how a garment is constructed and shaped.
Okay, where do we start?
A fundamental concept is the silhouette.
Silhouette, like the outline.
Exactly. It's the technical term for the overall shape or outline that the garment creates around the body. It's the first impression of its form.
Could you give examples?
Sure, you might talk about a tight, figure-hugging silhouette, common in bodycon dresses, or a loose, triangular A-line silhouette, often seen in skirts or coats that are narrow at the top and flare out, or a boxy silhouette, maybe in an oversized jacket.
So analyzing the silhouette helps you understand the garment's basic form and maybe the era it evokes.
Precisely. It's a core element of design language. Next up is the cut.
How is cut different from silhouette?
Cut is more about the specifics of how the fabric pieces are shaped and sewn together to create that silhouette and make it fit the body. It implies precision and tailoring skill.
So you might praise
the precision of the cut in a Savile Row suit, referring to how expertly the panels are shaped to fit the shoulders, waist, and create clean lines. Or talk about a bias cut dress, where the fabric is cut diagonally to make it cling and flow differently.
It's about the engineering of the garment.
In a way, yes, especially in tailored items. Related but distinct is draping.
Draping, that sounds softer.
It usually is. Draping refers to the way fabric, typically softer, more fluid fabric like silk, jersey, or chiffon, is arranged to hang or fall gracefully on the body. It often involves less cutting and sewing and more folding, gathering, and letting the fabric's own weight create the shape.
So less about sharp tailoring, more about flow.
Exactly. Think of ancient Greek statues or elegant evening gowns where the fabric seems to cascade over the body. Skilled draping is an art form in itself, requiring a deep understanding of how different fabrics behave.
So silhouette, the overall shape, cut, the precise construction, and draping, the flow of soft fabric. Using those terms shows a deeper understanding.
Definitely. It moves your analysis from just what it is to how it's made and what effect it creates.
Now, with this vocabulary, we can better understand the structure of the fashion industry itself. The sources mention a hierarchy.
Yes, a distinct pyramid structure. At the very, very top, the absolute pinnacle is haute couture.
French for high sewing or high dressmaking. What defines it?
It's the most exclusive, luxurious, and artistic level. Haute couture pieces are one of a kind, custom made by hand for a specific private client. They involve incredible craftsmanship, often thousands of hours of work, and cost astronomical sums.
It's like the laboratory of fashion.
Exactly. It's where designers experiment with new ideas, techniques, and forms, often with little concern for commercial viability. It sets the creative tone.
Okay, what's the level below that?
That's prêt-à-porter, another French term meaning ready to wear.
So not custom made, but still high end.
Correct. These are the designer collections you see on runways during fashion weeks. They are produced in standardized sizes, unlike couture, and sold in designer boutiques or high-end department stores. Still expensive, still fashion-forward, but intended for a slightly wider, though still affluent market.
It's the bridge between pure art and commerce.
A good way to think of it. And then, the base of the pyramid.
That must be where most clothes come from.
Yes, that's off the rack. This term covers all mass-produced clothing made in large quantities in factories, sold in chain stores, department stores, online retailers.
And fast fashion falls squarely into this category.
Absolutely. It's the most extreme end of the off-the-rack model. emphasizing speed and volume above all else.
Understanding this hierarchy helps explain the different price points and levels of quality we see.
Definitely. And it brings us back full circle to that final philosophical tension we discussed earlier.
The pull between chasing trends and investing in timelessness.
Exactly. The constant tension between pursuing fleeting trends, which the fast fashion end of off-the-rack fuels, and the anxiety of feeling out of date. Versus the philosophy of investing in timeless pieces, choosing garments for their enduring quality, classic design, and personal resonance, which transcends the seasonal churn of fashion.
This investment mindset also seems to connect to the growing interest in secondhand clothing.
Hugely. The sources highlight the boom in thrifting and buying vintage.
Let's clarify those terms. Thrifting.
Thrifting is the general informal verb for shopping for used clothes, typically in charity shops or thrift stores. It's often about finding bargains and unique items.
And vintage, is that different?
Vintage is usually more specific. While definitions vary, it generally refers to items that are older, often considered 20 years or more, and are seen as good examples of the style of their specific era.
So potentially more curated or valuable than just general secondhand.
Potentially, yes. Vintage shops often curate their stock more carefully, but the appeal driving both thrifting and vintage buying is multifaceted now.
What are the drivers? Sustainability must be one.
Absolutely. Buying secondhand is arguably the most sustainable way to acquire clothes, as it requires no new resources to be produced. It's the ultimate form of recycling in fashion.
What else makes it appealing?
Individuality. In a world of mass production, wearing vintage or thrifted items almost guarantees you won't see 10 other people in the same outfit. It's a statement of uniqueness.
And the sources mention something deeper, too, about narrative.
Yes, the concepts of narrative and provenance.
Provenance meaning the history of ownership, where something came from.
Exactly. A vintage piece, or even just a well-loved secondhand item, carries a story. It has a past. It existed before you. There's a romantic appeal to wearing something with history, something that connects you to a previous time or person.
So it's not just an object, it has a narrative attached.
Right. Wearing something with provenance makes a statement against the disposable, ahistorical nature of much modern consumption. It values history, durability, and storytelling. It connects back to that idea of eternal style having depth.
Wow. Okay, so we started this deep dive just trying to figure out where to find a pair of jeans in a shop.
A simple enough starting point.
And we've journeyed all the way through sizing, payment, materials, patterns, sales tactics, online shopping.
The ethics of fast fashion versus slow fashion.
And ended up analyzing silhouette, cut, draping, the industry hierarchy, and the philosophical weight of vintage clothing.
It really shows how something seemingly mundane getting dressed is layered with complexity. Language, economics, ethics, identity.
We've essentially learned that the act of choosing and buying clothes isn't just functional. It's, as you said earlier, almost a daily philosophical statement.
It reflects your values, whether consciously or not. Your views on consumption, on identity, on sustainability, even on memory and history.
So as we wrap up, we always like to leave our listener, you, with a final provocative thought to mull over based on everything we've discussed.
Okay. Given everything we've explored, especially that idea of clothes as self-expression and the appeal of provenance, the story behind older clothes, here's the thought.
Okay.
How does focusing on the story and the history, the provenance of the garments already hanging in your own wardrobe, change your relationship with them? What narratives do your own clothes hold?
That's a great question. Thinking about the history of pieces you already own, not just seeking it elsewhere.
Might make you value them differently.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us on this incredibly comprehensive deep dive.
It was fascinating to unpack. We hope this knowledge empowers you, changes how you shop, maybe how you think about dressing, and how you see the whole world of fashion.
Until next time, take care. Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been following our knowledge download on fashion and clothing vocabulary, you've hopefully mastered the materials, the cuts, the basic garments.
Right, the foundations.
Exactly. Today, we're turning up the dial. We're moving past that foundation and really getting into the nuance, the details that signal true sartorial literacy.
That's absolutely right. Our sources for this deep dive, they really reveal that knowing the advanced vocabulary isn't just about naming clothes.
No.
It's about decoding social environments, projecting intent. So our mission today is to complete your education. We're covering everything from, say, the precise structure of footwear and accessories, to the crucial etiquette of global dress codes, clothing care, all of it.
And we're not wasting any time. We're starting small, like really small details. We are talking about those pieces that add flair, function, authority, even to any look.
Yeah.
As our research notes, accessories are, well, they're called the essential punctuation marks of fashion.
That's a great way to put it. So accessories are, by definition, items you add to a basic outfit to enhance it.
Right, to make it more interesting.
Exactly. They take your core message, your outfit, and add sophisticated commentary. Sometimes they're purely decorative, but honestly, often they're both beautiful and supremely functional.
Okay, let's begin where function and decoration often meet. The waist.
Good starting point. The belt.
The belt, yeah. Prime example. Most people just see it as like something to hold your trousers up.
A fastener.
But it holds far more meaning, doesn't it?
It really does, because the devil, as they say, is in the detail of the buckle. That metal fastener tells a story. It tells you about the quality of the entire item. For example, knowing the difference between a simple prong buckle, the standard kind, and maybe a statement piece like a plaque buckle. You often see those on high-end designer belts. That's crucial. And furthermore, the metal itself. Is it solid brass? Or is it, some thinly plated cheap metal? That's often the hidden signal of quality, even if the leather strap looks pretty similar.
That's a wonderful nugget of insight. Really is. Yeah. It's that hidden bit that confirms the expense, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay, moving up from the waist up to the neck, we have the versatile scarf. We talked about materials last time, wool, silk, cotton. But let's discuss the language. How you wear them.
Right. The verb choice here is absolutely key if you want to sound proficient. You might wrap a thick wool scarf, right, for maximum warmth. It becomes insulation.
Okay.
Wrap. But for silk or maybe fine cashmere, you drape it. You let the fabric fall elegantly.
Drape. Okay, more gentle.
More gentle, more about the look. And you might also tie it. Specific patterns, Think of those formal styles like an ascot or a cravat. Those are really structured neckties.
Right.
That's very different from the simple knot you'd use for just a daily winter scarf. So the verb really defines the function and the formality.
Got it. Okay, now carrying our essentials. For women, the general term is handbag. Or maybe just bag.
Right, or purse, which is pretty common in American English, particularly for everyday use.
Purse, right. But the variations are endless, aren't they? Like a structured, flat-bottomed bag. That might be a satchel.
Could be a satchel. Or a bag carried specifically without handles, often on a chain strap, usually for evening. That's a clutch.
A clutch, okay. And if utility is the main goal?
Then you're probably looking at a backpack, or, the slightly more ragged British term, rucksack. The choice just signals the activity level immediately. Casual, outdoorsy, maybe.
And for men, formality demands different options there.
Absolutely. The structured briefcase, that's the symbol of formal business. It speaks to documents, precision.
Very traditional.
Very. The softer crossbody messenger bag, though, that's far more common now in, say, creative fields or tech industries.
Right.
But here's the thing. The material selection is what really conveys the status. A classic, full-grain leather briefcase sends a completely different message than, say, a canvas messenger bag, even if they're holding the exact same laptop.
Interesting point. Same function, different message.
Exactly. And of course, the universal carrier for cash and cards remains the wallet for everyone.
Okay. Now, our sources mentioned an interesting difference in spelling. Jewelry.
Yes, this is actually quite essential if you're doing any global business correspondence, emails, that kind of thing. British English keeps the double L, so Jewellery.
Yeah, double L.
American English simplifies it, Jewelry, single L.
Good to know.
Yeah, but regardless of how you spell it, the basic pieces are pretty straightforward. Earrings, necklace, rings, and bracelet.
Right, but the truly fascinating item here, I think, is the watch. It kind of straddles that line between technology, history, maybe even status symbol.
It absolutely does. It's a piece of jewelry, but with a critical function. And for advanced discussion, you really need to know a bit more, like the difference between the watch's movement. Is it a simple quartz battery movement?
Okay.
Or is it a complex mechanical movement with all the tiny gears?
The fancy ones.
The fancy ones. And then you have complications. That's the term for extra features beyond just telling time. Things like a calendar or a moon phase tracker.
Right.
So when you describe the watch you want, you define your appreciation for its complexity, its aesthetic. You might say something like, I'm looking for a minimalist watch with a leather strap to complement my professional wardrobe.
Okay, that's very specific.
It is. You've just defined the strap material, the aesthetic style, and the function all in one clear sentence. That shows you know what you're talking about.
Okay, let's use that same level of precision now. We're moving from the wrist down to the feet. Because, nothing really grounds an outfit or signals seriousness, quite like the shoes you choose.
So true. Starting with men's formal attire, we absolutely must clarify the distinction between the most formal shoe, the Oxford.
The Oxford.
And its slightly more relaxed cousin, the derby shoe.
Okay, Oxford versus derby. What's the key difference?
It's the lacing. The Oxford is defined by its closed lacing system. That means the vamp, the front part of the shoe, actually covers the bits where the laces go through the eyelets.
Right, it was cleaner.
Exactly. It makes it sleek, very formal, mandatory with proper suits.
The derby.
The derby uses an open lacing system, so the eyelet tabs are sewn on top of the vamp. It looks a little bit bulkier.
Okay.
And therefore, it's less formal. It makes it more versatile, maybe for business casual or smart casual looks. Both are great shoes, mind you. But you choose the Oxford when you need the most serious formal image.
Got it. What about the decorative formal shoe, the brogue? I always see those little holes.
The perforations. Yes, brogues are characterized by those signature perforations.
Yeah.
Little decorative holes punched into the leather. Now, the formality depends entirely on how much decoration there is. A full brogue, which is also called a wingtip because of the W shape on the toe.
Wingtip, yeah.
That has the most patterning. It's actually less formal, more country originally.
Okay.
But a quarter brogue, which only has perforations along the toe seam, much sleeker. That can often be worn in professional settings.
Interesting. So more holes means less formal generally.
Generally speaking, yes. Okay, shifting to women's formal footwear. We start with the umbrella term heels or high heels.
Right, the basics.
Correct. But the variation in terminology here is vital. That dramatic, very thin heel, that's a stiletto.
The killer heel.
A killer heel, exactly. A practical, covered formal shoe, often closed toe, is generally called a pump.
A pump, okay.
Then you have variations like the kitten heel, which is short and thin, kind of retro, and the slingback, which has an open heel but a strap behind the ankle.
Right.
And contrasting with all those thin heels, you have the wedge.
The wedge.
Yeah.
Much more stable.
Immensely stable because the heel material extends under the entire foot. That's why wedges are often popular for, say, outdoor events, garden parties, or just long days on your feet.
Makes sense. Okay, for casual wear, the names are maybe more universal. Sneakers or trainers?
Oh, yes. Those are globally recognized. Those sneakers themselves now have their own kind of hierarchy, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have the running shoe, which is purely performance-focused, engineering for sport, versus the fashion sneaker, which is all about the look, the lifestyle, often much more expensive.
True. Then there are loafers.
Loafers, yes. Smart casual slip-ons, historically inspired by moccasins, apparently. They're a great choice for business casual settings when you want comfort, but you still want to look polished.
Good balance. And for maximum relaxation, like beach time.
Sandals, obviously, for open summer wear. And then the extreme end, flip-flops. And you have to remember this one, thongs in Australian English.
Right. Always causes confusion for visitors, that one.
Always. These are strictly for the beach or maybe the pool deck, not for walking around town, usually.
Okay. Now, to really talk fluently about shoe quality, shoe fit, we need to know the anatomy. The internal structure.
Absolutely essential. The bottom layer, the part that hits the ground, that's the sole.
Sole.
The material covering your foot is the upper.
Upper.
The heel is the raised back part, distinct from the sole structure, although often integrated. And crucially, the quality of a really good formal shoe is often defined by its welt.
The welt. What's that?
It's that strip of material, often leather, that connects the upper to the sole. A high-quality construction method, like a Goodyear welt.
Goodyear welt, okay.
That means the shoe can be repeatedly resoled by a cobbler. The upper lasts for years, you just replace the sole.
So that's what separates a disposable shoe from a real investment piece.
Precisely. We also distinguish by how they fasten laces versus simple slip-ons.
Right.
And knowing this structure allows you to demand specific functionality when you're shopping. If you're talking to a shoe expert, you articulate your needs using the anatomy. You'd say, I'm looking for comfortable walking shoes with good arch support and a non-slip sole.
Okay.
That tells the salesperson you understand the difference between just basic comfort and necessary engineering for your foot.
Okay, now we step into the social arena.
Yeah.
Dress codes. These are like the silent rules that tell you exactly how seriously to take an event.
Right.
What level of respect is required.
Exactly. And understanding this hierarchy is, well, it's non-negotiable if you want to navigate high-stakes social and professional environments successfully. At the very, very top, the absolute pinnacle of formality is white tie.
White tie, wow, that sounds incredibly formal, like something out of a period drama.
It pretty much is. It is extremely rare today, reserved for things like state dinners, maybe very formal royal events, certain charity balls, and the mandate is strict.
What are the specifics?
Men wear a black tailcoat, you know, the one with the long tails at the back, a white waistcoat, and, crucially, a white bow tie, hence the name. Women wear floor-length evening gowns. Very formal. Its origins are really in 19th century European court attire. There's almost zero flexibility.
Wow. Okay. Just below that, though, the more common but still fiercely formal standard is black tie.
Right. This is the standard for most galas, serious, formal dinners, maybe some weddings. For men, it means a tuxedo.
The tux.
Specifically, a black or sometimes midnight blue jacket, usually with satin lapels. That satin is key, often worn with a cummerbund, that pleated sash around the waist, or sometimes a low-cut waistcoat.
Okay. And women?
Women wear floor-length evening gowns or perhaps very elegant, dressy cocktail dresses. The key is the tuxedo satin element for men. That's the visual signal of black tie.
Okay. Now, where does that confusing phrase black tie optional fit in? I see that sometimes.
Ah, yes. Optional. That phrase is essentially a polite nudge. It means, look, we'd really like you to dress formally, black tie level, but we acknowledge some guests might not actually own a tuxedo.
So it's not really optional.
Not really. It's much safer to aim for black tie if you can, but a very dark conservative suit, maybe with a formal shirt and tie, is generally considered acceptable if you genuinely don't have a tux. It's almost never code for, oh, just dress down.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, next, we relax just slightly into cocktail attire.
Right. Cocktail attire is elegant, it's stylish, typically appropriate for things like receptions, evening parties, nicer dinners out. For men, this usually means a dark suit.
Dark suit.
Yeah, but often accessorized with a bit more personality, maybe a bright pocket square, interesting socks, a patterned tie.
Okay, showing a bit of flair.
Exactly. Women typically opt for a cocktail dress, which is usually knee-length or perhaps midi-length and dressy heels. The emphasis is on polished festivity, looking good, celebrating.
Okay. Now for the workplace, we have business formal or business professional. Are these basically the same thing?
Regionally, people often use them interchangeably, yeah. But technically, there can be a subtle distinction. Business formal often implies a very conservative, traditional look. Think charcoal or navy suit, plain white or light blue shirt, a conservative tie, leather Oxfords, very traditional finance or law, maybe?
Yeah, very strict.
Very strict. Business professional is often used when the workplace definitely requires a suit, but maybe allows for slightly more color or pattern. Subtle pinstripes, perhaps, a wider range of shirt colors. It's all about projecting competence and seriousness in a corporate environment.
Got it. And then the saving grace of many modern offices, business casual.
Ah, yes, this is a major departure. For men, it usually means no tie required. Dress trousers or maybe nice khakis, a button-down shirt, perhaps a sport coat or a blazer over it.
Okay.
For women, smart trousers or maybe a knee-length skirt, blouses, maybe polished knitwear, sweaters. The rule of thumb I sometimes hear is, if you spilled coffee on yourself, could you still comfortably greet an important client?
Good rule.
If the answer is no, it's probably too casual for business casual.
Okay. Finally, we get down to smart casual and just plain casual. What's the difference there?
Smart casual requires polish, but with maximum comfort. This is where things like high-quality dark wash jeans, maybe worn with a nice blazer or a sophisticated sweater and good shoes, fit in. It's looking put together, but relaxed.
Okay. Polished but comfy.
Exactly. Casual is, well, comfortable, everyday clothes. But again, context is king. Casual for meeting friends for coffee usually means a clean t-shirt and decent jeans, maybe sneakers. It probably doesn't mean ripped gym wear unless you are literally at home or the gym.
Right. Context matters hugely, so interpretation is everything. When you get that invitation, a fluent person doesn't panic. They instantly think, okay, the invitation specifies cocktail attire, so I'll wear my navy suit, maybe add a pocket square for a touch of personality.
Precisely. They know the standard, and they know how to personalize it respectfully within the code. And beyond those general codes, certain milestones, big life events, carry such heavy social weight that they often have their own specific vocabulary and rules, sometimes overriding the general dress code.
Okay, like weddings. That's the big one. We know the bride wears the wedding dress or gown. The groom wears a suit or tuxedo, depending on formality. But guest etiquette, that feels like a minefield.
It truly can be. The universal cardinal rule, at least in most Western cultures, is don't wear white.
Right. Don't upstage the bride.
Exactly. White is reserved for the bride. But you need deep cultural context here, too. For example, in some parts of Asia, white is traditionally associated with funerals, so wearing it to a wedding would be very wrong. And sometimes bright red can be seen as overly attention-seeking.
Wow, okay.
The invitation is key. It will often specify the dress code. Formal, semi-formal, garden party. Garden party usually implies lighter fabrics, maybe hats for women, less structure overall.
Good tips. Okay, next high-stakes presentation, the job interview.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The golden rule here generally is to dress one level more formal than the standard day-to-day dress code of the place you're applying to.
One level up, why?
It shows you take the opportunity seriously. It shows respect for the process and the people interviewing you. So if it's a tech startup where everyone wears jeans and t-shirts, you probably wear smart casual or maybe business casual, nice trousers, a collared shirt. If it's a conservative bank or law firm, you absolutely wear a full suit, business formal.
Makes sense. Always better to be slightly overdressed than underdressed in that situation.
Almost always, yes. Which feeds directly into this concept of power dressing.
Power dressing, what exactly is that?
Power dressing is the intentional use of clothing specifically to project authority, confidence, and competence.
Okay.
This often involves very structured tailoring, sharp shoulders, clean silhouettes. Colors associated with stability and seriousness are common navy blue, charcoal gray, maybe deep reds, usually avoiding overly busy patterns that might distract from your message.
So it's a tool for important meetings, presentations.
Exactly. It's strategic clothing. It's about visually reinforcing your professional message.
Okay. We also need vocabulary for more somber occasions, like funerals.
Yes. The appropriate term is mourning attire. Traditionally, in most Western contexts, this means black or very dark, subdued colors like dark gray or navy.
Right. Showing respect.
It signifies respect and grief. But again, cultural variation is immense. In some East Asian cultures, for example, specific shades of white or even unbleached linen are the traditional funeral attire. The universal goal, though, is always to blend in, show deference to the occasion and the bereaved family, avoid standing out.
Okay. And finally, when we escape all these rules and structures, we enter the world of vacation dressing. Is there a term for that?
There is, actually. It's often codified as resort wear or cruise wear.
Resort wear, okay.
And this isn't just any casual clothing. It's generally understood to be upscale leisure wear. Think lightweight fabrics, often brightly colored or patterned linens, light cottons, maybe silks, sometimes things like wide-brimmed sun hats. It's clothing appropriate for dining in nice restaurants at a tropical destination or on a cruise ship.
So relaxed, but still polished.
Exactly. It suggests relaxation without ever looking sloppy or unkempt. So we've stressed again and again that clothing is communication. It's a language. And when you enter a new country, you are essentially encountering an entirely new dialect of that fashion language. Understanding the philosophy behind the clothes is vital for effective communication.
Okay. Let's start with Japan. You mentioned the concept of omotenashi. How does that relate to clothing?
Right, omotenashi, it's often translated simply as like selfless hospitality, but it applies directly to personal presentation. It means that dressing well is seen as a sign of respect, but not primarily for yourself.
For who then?
For the people you are interacting with and for the place you are visiting. It goes beyond just wearing neat clothes. It extends to immaculate grooming, ensuring there are no visible wrinkles, making sure your shoes are polished. It's about eliminating any potential distractions or signs of carelessness that might disrespect the other person or the situation.
Wow, that's a deep concept. Okay, contrast that with France, particularly Parisian style, that's known for effortless chic.
Ah, yes. Effortless chic. It's practically an art form in Paris. It's often about the intentional rejection of conspicuous branding, of obvious logos.
Right, understated.
Very. The focus is always on superb, fit, high-quality materials and a carefully curated look that seems, well, uncomplicated. You look polished, definitely stylish, but you never appear to have spent hours agonizing over it. It's about intrinsic style, not showing off labels.
Okay. Now, Italy takes that appreciation for quality, but maybe elevates it differently. With la bella figura.
La bella figura. Yes, literally it means the beautiful figure or making a good impression. This is perhaps less about being understated than the French ideal and more about making a stylish, memorable entrance.
Okay. More noticeable.
Often, yes. It can involve high-quality tailoring, certainly, but maybe more vibrant color, an emphasis on luxurious fabrics that catch the eye. It also connects sometimes to the idea of sprezzatura that studied carelessness. Yeah, it's projecting an image of confidence by looking sharp, but maybe slightly disheveled in a very charming, intentional way, like a jacket draped just so over the shoulder, or a imperfectly tied scarf, looking great without looking like you tried too hard.
I like that. Okay, a completely different cultural approach is seen in the rise of modest fashion, particularly strong in the Middle East, but now global.
Absolutely. Modest fashion is a massive and rapidly growing global market. It's centered on clothing that covers more of the body, longer hemlines, higher necklines, looser fits, often including head coverings like hijabs.
Yeah.
But crucially, it remains absolutely at the cutting edge of modern style. This sector has innovated significantly, focusing on amazing structure, clever layering techniques, high-end fabrics, proving that covering up does not mean sacrificing aesthetics or luxury at all.
Fascinating. And in India, we see maybe a beautiful demonstration of synthesis, old and new together.
India is a fantastic example of tradition and modernity coexisting beautifully. You have the timeless elegance of traditional garments like the sari for women or the men's kurta. And these exist right alongside Western business suits, jeans, t-shirts. And this leads to a really vibrant fusion style, sometimes called Indo-Western wear.
Indo-Western?
Yeah, where you might see traditional Indian embroidery or silhouettes adapted onto modern Western forms, like tunics worn over trousers, creating a unique hybrid cultural expression. It's very dynamic.
So understanding these differences isn't just like academic curiosity. It's really practical for communication, isn't it?
Hugely practical. Imagine you received an invitation to a formal event abroad. You need to know how to phrase your inquiry respectfully to show you've thought about it. Something like, I'm attending a diplomatic reception in Dubai. Would traditional Islamic attire be appropriate for me as a visitor, or is a Western-style suit expected?
Right. Asking the question shows awareness.
Exactly. It shows genuine cultural literacy and respect, even if you don't know the answer yet. Okay, so once you know the dress code for where you're going, the actual process of acquiring the clothes involves understanding the local etiquette for transactions, how you buy things.
And the biggest hurdle for many travelers, I imagine, is the contrast between fixed prices and fluid pricing, haggling.
Yes, absolutely. In certain environments, think traditional markets, souks in North Africa or the Middle East, street markets in parts of Asia, haggling or bargaining over the price isn't just acceptable.
It's expected.
It's often an expected, even necessary part of the social exchange. Knowing the basic etiquette, maybe starting with an offer lower than you intend to pay, aiming for a price that both you and the seller find fair, and being ready to walk away politely if you can't agree, that's actually a skill you need in those contexts.
But trying that in, say, a major department store in London or New York, that would be awkward.
Completely inappropriate, embarrassing even. In most Western retail environments, certainly in established shops and boutiques, the prices are fixed. End of story. Attempting to bargain would just confuse and probably offend the sales assistant. You really need to read the environment quickly to figure out if negotiation is on the table or absolutely not.
Okay. Service styles also present cultural surprises, right?
Oh, definitely. Take Japan again. The service is typically exceptionally polite. Staff might bow. They'll use very formal language.
Very respectful.
Incredibly. However, staff are often trained not to hover or pressure a sale. They really respect the customer's need for a quiet browsing time, which can actually feel quite passive, almost indifferent to a Western shopper who's used to more high engagement sales tactics.
Interesting. And in France, you mentioned the initial interaction can feel maybe abrupt if you're not used to it.
Yes, especially in smaller Parisian boutiques. It is considered absolutely fundamental to acknowledge the shop assistant immediately upon entering.
Just say hello.
Just a simple, polite, bonjour, madame, or bonjour, monsieur. Failing to offer that basic greeting is perceived as quite cold, maybe even arrogant. That simple bonjour is essential to establish a positive interaction before you even start looking.
Good tip. Okay, in the Middle East, practicalities can sometimes interrupt the shopping flow.
Yes, a key detail there is being aware of prayer times.
Wow.
Shops, especially smaller independent ones, will often close briefly for prayer, usually 5 times a day.
Right.
And it's considered respectful just to be patient, wait nearby, and let them reopen. It requires prioritizing cultural respect over your own consumer impatience, really.
Okay. And in contrast, the United States shopping experience is often characterized by, well, high engagement, friendliness.
Yes, often very high engagement. American sales associates are frequently paid on commission, or at least strongly encouraged to make sales targets. So they're often trained to be very friendly, very chatty.
Yeah, they talk to you a lot.
They do.
Yeah.
Engaging in small talk, asking about your day, inquiring about your needs repeatedly. This level of intimacy and persistence can sometimes feel overwhelming or surprising to visitors from more reserved cultures. But it's pretty standard practice, especially in department stores or chain stores.
Good to be prepared for.
And one more practical tip for international shoppers. Always remember to inquire about VAT refunds or tax-free shopping schemes. These are often available when you're buying goods to export from a country and can save you a significant amount of money.
Good point. Always worth asking about the tax back. Okay, let's get practical now. Fashion isn't just about glamour or social codes. It's also fundamentally about practicality. Our wardrobes have to adapt to the year's cycle, right? So understanding the vocabulary of climate dressing is crucial.
Absolutely. Spring, for instance, is defined by transitional dressing. We're moving out of heavy winter insulation towards lighter cover, but temperatures can shift rapidly during the day.
Right, cold mornings, warm afternoons.
Exactly. So the key is strategic layering.
That means focusing on lightweight fabrics, things like linen and cotton, which breathe well, and the necessary garments are often things that are easy to carry or remove, like a light cotton cardigan you can throw over a t-shirt.
Or maybe a vest, a gilet under a blazer. Merino wool is often a favorite for spring layering because it insulates really well, but it's surprisingly thin.
Good choice. Okay, summer. That's all about dealing with heat, right?
Yeah.
So breathable fabrics are key.
Absolutely essential. We need materials that wick moisture away from the skin. Things like linen, seersucker, that bumpy cotton fabric, and specialized lightweight cottons. Functionality really takes over the accessories too.
Like sunglasses.
Good quality sunglasses, proper sun hats for protection, maybe lightweight scarves for sun cover rather than warmth, and generally looser clothing for maximum air circulation.
Makes sense. Then autumn, or fall. This is the season where layering becomes like an art form.
It really does. Layering in autumn is about playing with texture and structure as well as warmth. This is when pieces like blazers really come back into their own.
Right.
Along with light jackets like trench coats or maybe bomber jackets, footwear shifts away from sandals towards closed shoes, especially things like ankle boots. They offer a great bridge between summer shoes and heavy winter gear. The goal is to build an outfit where you can easily shed layers if the day warms up unexpectedly.
Okay. And then the siege of winter. The vocabulary shifts entirely here, doesn't it? It's all about insulation.
Insulation is critical, and we need to talk about specific items. Like thermal underwear or base layers. These are worn close to the skin to trap body heat.
Thermals, yeah.
Then you need a good mid-layer, perhaps a fleece jacket or a thick wool sweater. And then the outerwear demands a properly warm winter coat. And knowing the difference there between, say, down fell power, which measures the loft and warmth to weight ratio of goose or duck down.
Okay.
And synthetic fills, that's important for choosing the right level of warmth. And don't forget the essential accessories. Thick socks, proper gloves or mittens, and a warm beanie or winter hat to stop heat escaping from your head.
Absolutely. We also can't forget the rain. What's the precise difference between water-resistant and waterproof? I always get those confused.
Good question. Waterproof means it's essentially impervious to water penetration. Think thick fabrics, often with sealed seams, maybe using specific membrane technology like Gore-Tex. It should keep you dry in heavy rain.
Okay, impervious.
Water resistant, on the other hand, means the fabric has been treated to repel water, so it will resist a light shower or slow down water penetration for a while, but it will eventually soak through in sustained or heavy rain.
Right. So for serious rain, you need properly waterproof gear.
Definitely. A fully waterproof raincoat, or the classic British term is a Mac, which is short for Macintosh. Okay, so you've bought all these wonderful clothes for different seasons and occasions, but a truly sophisticated wardrobe is one that lasts, and that longevity relies entirely on proper maintenance.
Yeah.
We need to decode those care labels.
The dreaded care labels. Okay, starting with washing methods. We have the default, machine wash. But anything fragile, and Austin says hand wash.
Right. Hand washing usually means using cold water, maybe a specialized gentle detergent, and literally washing by hand in a basin or sink to avoid the harsh agitation of a machine, which could damage delicate fibers like silk or fine knits.
Okay. Then there's the really scary one, dry clean only.
Yes. That label signifies items that absolutely must be professionally cleaned using chemical solvents, not water. This usually applies to things like certain silks, heavily structured tailoring like suit jackets, or delicate wools like cashmere that would shrink, felt, or distort badly in water.
Right. Can't risk those.
But be warned, repeated dry cleaning can also degrade some fibers over time due to the chemicals used, so only dry clean when absolutely necessary.
The label specifics can be intimidating too, like wash at 30 degrees. That's Celsius, right?
Yes, 30 degrees Celsius, which is a cool wash, or it might say cold wash only. These are usually mandates to preserve color integrity, especially in dark or bright clothes, and also to prevent synthetic fabrics or denim from shrinking with heat. Using a mesh garment bag for delicate items during a machine wash is also a really good proactive step to prevent snagging.
Good idea. Okay, after washing, we have to focus on drying. The machine option is tumble dry.
Right. But the tumble dryer, especially on high heat, is where garments often shrink dramatically or suffer fiber damage and pilling. The much safer options, especially for natural fibers, are to air dry or line dry.
Just hang them up.
Hang them on a line or a drying rack. Or for things like sweaters that could stretch when hung wet, you should always dry them flat on a towel. That helps maintain their shape.
Okay, dry flat for knits. Got it. And the perennial problem, creases, wrinkles.
Yes. The methods for smoothing are either the traditional hot iron, which requires knowing the specific temperature settings for different fabrics. Cotton can take high heat, silk needs very low heat, synthetics even lower, or the often quicker and gentler option is a garment steamer.
The steamer, right. Uses steam.
Exactly. It uses hot steam to relax the fibers and let the wrinkles fall out. It's great for delicate fabrics, but if you really hate both ironing and steaming, then you need to actively look for fabrics that are labeled wrinkle-resistant or non-iron.
They exist.
Good.
Finally, storage. This is where I suspect most people unintentionally ruin their good clothes.
You're probably right. Proper storage is absolutely vital for longevity. You must hang structured items, suits, dresses, shirts on appropriate hangers.
Not wire hangers from the dry cleaner.
Please, no. Ideally, use thick, contoured wooden or padded hangers that support the shape of the garment, especially at the shoulders. Store these in your wardrobe or closet. But crucially, all knitwear, cashmere sweaters, wool cardigans, anything knitted must be folded carefully and stored flat in drawers or on shelves.
Why folded?
Because if you hang knitwear, especially heavy knits, gravity will inevitably stretch out the shoulders and distort the entire silhouette over time. Folding prevents that stretching.
Makes sense. And protecting those natural fibers like wool and cashmere from pests.
Moths.
Yes, the clothes moth is the enemy. The larvae eat keratin, which is the protein found in wool, cashmere, silk. Prevention involves keeping storage areas clean, using sealed bags or boxes for long-term storage, and using deterrents like traditional mothballs which contain chemicals, or the more pleasant natural option of cedar blocks or lavender sachets. Their scent repels moths.
Cedar blocks, okay. Taking care of a high-quality piece shows real knowledge, you might say. This cashmere sweater requires delicate care. It needs to be hand-washed in cold water and laid flat to dry to maintain its shape. That demonstrates you fully understand the fiber's specific needs.
Okay, let's face it, the reality is that off-the-rack clothing is designed for sort of average measurements, average body shapes. True style, that really polished look, often requires that final step, tailoring, getting it altered.
Absolutely. And that requires communicating precisely with the specialists. The expert in this field is generally called a tailor, especially for menswear and structural work, or perhaps a seamstress who often focuses more on women's wear, dresses, and finer adjustments. They work in a tailor shop or an alteration show.
Right. What's the most common, simplest adjustment people need? Making things shorter.
Exactly. That is called hemming. This applies primarily to trousers, skirts, and dresses. And you need to be precise about the measurement. These trousers need to be hemmed by 2 inches, for example.
2 inches, okay.
And if they are men's dress trousers, you might also need to specify the type of hem finish you want. Usually a plain hem, or perhaps a cuff, which is also known as a turn-up.
Ah, the cuff.
Okay.
Then we need to adjust the overall size, right? Making things bigger or smaller.
Yes. You use the phrasal verbs taking in to make a garment smaller. This is usually done along the side seams or back seam.
Taking in.
Conversely, if possible, you can ask the tailor to let out a garment. This means opening up the seams to use any excess fabric allowance that might be hidden inside. But whether this is possible depends entirely on whether the original manufacturer actually left enough extra fabric in the seams.
Right. Sometimes there's nothing to let out.
Exactly. So can you take in the waist of this dress is a standard request. Can you let out these trousers? Might get a yes or no depending on the construction.
Okay. What about shaping? That sounds more complex than just shortening or widening.
Shaping is really key to achieving a modern, flattering fit. Tapering is a very common shaping adjustment. It means gradually making a part of the garment narrower towards its end. Tapering, like on trouser legs.
Exactly. It's most common for trouser legs, where the tailor will narrow the leg, usually starting from below the knee down towards the ankle. This creates a cleaner, more modern fitted silhouette compared to a straight or wide leg.
Got it. Now, to really speak the tailor's language, are there technical measurements we should know?
Yes, a couple are very useful. When you're ordering custom clothing or discussing trouser alterations, you need to know your inseam. That's the critical measurement of the inside leg seam, running from the crotch seam right down to the bottom hem.
Inseam.
You also might need to know or discuss the rise. That's the distance from that central crotch seam up to the top of the waistband. The rise determines how high or low the trousers sit on your body. High rise, mid rise, low rise.
Rise and inseam, good ones. And finally, maybe a word of caution about how complex and maybe expensive some alterations can be.
Yes, it's really important to manage expectations. Having sleeve shortens on a jacket or shirt, relatively straightforward, usually not too costly.
But any adjustments that involve the fundamental structure of a tailored jacket, particularly adjusting the fit across the shoulders or changing the dimensions of the upper chest area, these are incredibly complex alterations. They require the tailor to basically deconstruct and reconstruct a large part of the garment.
Sounds expensive.
It is. They will be prohibitively expensive, often making the alteration cost almost as much as or even more than the original garment itself. So major shoulder adjustments are usually not worth it unless the garment is very valuable.
Okay, for our final segment, we need to acknowledge that fashion is, a constantly evolving social landscape. And the language we use to describe size, fit, accessibility, it's changing rapidly, moving towards greater inclusion.
That's a really important point. We've definitely seen the rise of brands that are genuinely trying to be size inclusive, offering ranges that break that traditional, very limited mold of standardized sizing. Exactly. Standardized sizing has historically failed so many people. Being size inclusive means offering sizes far outside the typical, say, US size 8 to 16 range, and we use specific terms like plus size for larger sizes. But it's more complex than just making clothes bigger proportionally.
How so?
It requires completely different pattern grading techniques, different fit considerations to accommodate different body shapes within those larger sizes. Similarly, the term petite refers not just to smaller sizes overall, but specifically to shorter frames. Petite clothing often needs adjustments for height, torso length, arm length, not just overall width.
Right, it's about proportion, not just size number. Another crucial, very specialized area is adaptive clothing. What does that involve?
Adaptive clothing is this amazing area of design specialization specifically for people with temporary or permanent disabilities or mobility issues. It's incredibly innovative.
What kind of innovations?
Well, it includes clever design fixes like using magnetic closures instead of fiddly buttons for people with dexterity challenges, or maybe side-zip trousers for easier dressing or toileting, or even specialized seated wear designs clothing cut and constructed specifically to account for the body position and comfort needs of a wheelchair user, ensuring the clothes drape properly and don't bunch up uncomfortably when seated.
That's fantastic. Really thoughtful design. We're also seeing the intentional blurring of traditional gender lines in clothing, aren't we?
Yes, very much so. This is the move toward gender-neutral or unisex clothing. These are garments designed without the traditional assumptions baked in about typically male or female silhouettes or details.
So what do they focus on instead?
They often focus on more universal cuts, maybe boxy shapes or relaxed structures that are comfortable and potentially flattering for any wearer, regardless of gender identity. It really reflects a broader societal shift away from restrictive labels and binaries.
And this linguistic shift, this focus on inclusion, it supports a larger cultural phenomenon, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This vocabulary, size inclusive, adaptive, gender neutral, it reinforces the important cultural movement of body positivity.
Body positivity.
Which demands the acceptance and appreciation of all body types, regardless of their shape, size, or ability. Related terms you hear are about fostering genuine body confidence and practicing self-acceptance. Recognizing that clothing should adapt to serve the body, not the other way around where bodies are expected to conform to restrictive clothing standards.
That's a powerful shift. And this leads to a more advanced appreciation for brands that actually get it right, that make the effort. Yeah. An informed consumer recognizes that effort.
Exactly. You might express it by saying something like, I really appreciate brands that embrace size diversity and actually showcase their clothing on models of various body types. That shows you value ethical practices and diverse representation in the fashion industry. #tag outro.
So we have journeyed pretty deep today, haven't we? Into the advanced lexicon of fashion, all the way from the polished buckle on your belt to the complex cultural signals embedded in, say, a traditional Indian sari. We definitely mastered the hierarchy of footwear, knowing when you absolutely need an Oxford and when maybe a brogue is appropriate. We decoded those sometimes intimidating formal social rules, moving from white tie and black tie right down to the nuances of business casual and even power dressing.
We explored the global landscape, too, contrasting the whole philosophy behind Japan's omotenashi with Italy's flair for la bella figura. And we learned some hard and fast rules of shopping etiquette around the world, like when to haggle, when definitely not to, and why you must always use that essential French bonjour.
Yes.
Yes.
And finally, we got really practical. We became experts, hopefully, mastering the vocabulary of transitional dressing for spring, understanding the delicate care needed for something like cashmere, and learning how to speak precisely to a tailor about hemming trousers or tapering a jacket for that perfect fit.
The critical takeaway really is this. Clothing is a complex, incredibly nuanced language. It communicates your personal expression, your cultural identity, your social intent, often before you even open your mouth. Mastering this vocabulary enables you, the listener, to navigate pretty much any environment, retail, social, professional, with much more confidence.
Yeah. As we've seen today, the most meticulous details, the type of lacing on a shoe, the color of a bow tie, even the invisible seam allowance inside a jacket that allows for alterations. These are all nonverbal signals. And they can carry massive social consequence, often recognized globally.
So if fashion truly is this complex living language, and if movements like adaptive clothing and gender-neutral design are constantly expanding its grammar and its syntax, maybe consider this. What social rules related to clothing do you think will become completely obsolete, just disappear entirely in the next decade?
Ooh, interesting question.
And thinking further ahead, what will the single most effective wordless fashion statement communicate to the world about the wearer's core values in the future?
Wow. That's something really profound to consider as you step out and get dressed tomorrow. You have the knowledge now. Go forth and make your statement heard.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Goodbye.